Welcome, everybody, to the Festival of Fire and Ice, sponsored by the Ithaca Children's Garden. My name is Perry Ground, Turtle Clan member of the Onondaga Nation, and I'm so honored to be back here at the Ithaca Children's Garden and to be part of this year's festival. We hope that you'll watch all the great videos that will be part of the virtual festival this year, in addition to some of the in-person events that will happen. I'll be telling you some traditional Haudenosaunee stories, and it's very important that we still hear these traditional stories told by the Haudenosaunee, sometimes called Iroquois people, that have lived here in upstate New York for thousands of years. We've been telling these stories for a long, long time to explain everything in the world around us, and to teach lessons about the proper way to behave, and to learn about our history and our culture, but also to have fun. Stories are supposed to be entertaining, and we got a great video for you that shows a whole bunch of children listening to some fantastic stories. So it's my great honor to be here. I hope that if you like my storytelling, you'll follow me on my Facebook page, which is called Talking Turtle Stories. And there you can read over 100 written versions of these great traditional stories. And I hope to see you soon, when it gets a little warmer, someplace around Ithaca for some more great storytelling. Thanks for joining us. Everybody, enjoy the Festival of Fire and Ice.
Here we go. Good afternoon. How's everybody doing today? All right. Well, I'm so glad that I could come here to Ithaca Children's Garden to join all of you today. A little chilly out here today, but we've got this nice fire to keep us warm. And today, what we are doing is we are filming something for the Fire and Ice Festival that is taking place here in Ithaca as part of the Children's Garden. And I'm so very happy to be part of it again. It's been a couple years since I've been here to the Children's Garden because of everything that's been going on, but I'm so happy to be back here today. Now, my name is Perry Ground. Ground's like what you walk on. And I am a Turtle Clan member of the Onondaga Nation. And the Onondagas are one of the original 5 tribes or nations that joined together here in what we now call New York to form a group of people that we call ourselves Haudenosaunee. Haudenosaunee. And when we're talking about the Haudenosaunee, sometimes people don't know that word, but they know another name that we are sometimes called. Do you know what it is? At your school, well, the other name that we are sometimes called, and you probably learned about it in school, we are sometimes called Iroquois or Iroquois. So if you've heard that word before, we're talking about the same group of people. So today what we're going to do is we are going to hear some stories that come from the Haudenosaunee. And the Haudenosaunee, like I said, were made up of 5 different nations. Sometimes we use the word tribes, and one of them actually lived right here where we are right now. So it included the Mohawk people, the Oneidas, the Onondagas, where I come from, the Cayugas, the people that lived right here where Ithaca is today, and that still live around here where Ithaca is today. And then also the Seneca people, and that's where my dad comes from. That's the type of Native American person that he is. So those were the original 5, but 300 years ago, another tribe came and joined us, the Tuscaroras. So today we have 6 nations as part of our union. We have a couple questions.
I've heard about the Mohawk.
You've heard about the Mohawk people before. It's a very common name that we've heard. Yeah. Let's hang on to questions. We'll have time for more questions later. But one of the things that Haudenosaunee people love to do, we did it a long time ago, and we still do it today, is that we love to tell stories. And we have lots and lots of stories that explain things in the world around us. Like, why is it wintertime right now? Well, because the frost spirit has come around here. And he's banging on the trees with his icy war club. And he's making everything cold. Like all this snow that we have around us. Yeah. So we have a story that explains why there's winter. And we know that when springtime comes, the spring spirit will come with warm berry juice and will throw it right onto that spirit of winter. And will melt all the way down. And everything will get nice and warm again. So we have stories that explain lots of things in the world around us. And I want to share one of these types of stories with you right now. This is the family that I come from. But there's something important that turtles do every winter. Turtles fly south.
No, turtles can't fly.
You've never seen a turtle fly south for the winter? Well, the Haudenosaunee have a story that tells about how the turtle flew south for the winter. Let's have this very, very fun story. Hang out the questions for just a second. Let's have this fun story about Haudenosaunee
I don't know what that is.
in our language. Here we go. Well, we say this story happened a long, long time ago, back when the Great Turtle Island was brand new. And Great Turtle Island is what the Haudenosaunee people call this place that we live on. Most people call it Earth or North America, but we call it the Great Turtle Island. It comes from our story of how the whole world got to be here. How a woman fell from a hole in the sky and came down onto the back of a big turtle. So we call it the Great Turtle Water. And in that pond lived a single
Turtle.
Haudenosaunee turtle in our language. Well, Haudenosaunee, he loved his pond very much. All around that pond, there was grass and moss and leaves and things for him to eat all the time. Woo-hoo-hoo. He could get a full belly. On the edge of the pond, there were rocks and logs, and that turtle, he could lay himself out in the sun. Get a nice suntan whenever he wanted. Oh, there were leaves on the trees all around that provided shade. There were minnows and grubs and worms all around, plenty for him to nibble on. Oh, Turtle, he loved his pond very much. But there was one thing about the pond that Turtle didn't like, and that was wintertime.
What about winter?
Because in the wintertime, oh, Turtle was so cold. He would tuck himself into his shell, but still was freezing all winter long. Oh, all the other animals would leave, and there was nothing for him to eat. The snow would come down, the ice would cover the ponds, and Turtle was just freezing all winter. Well, one year, as the leaves started to change color and were getting ready to fall off of the trees, the chill was in the air. Turtle knew that winter was coming. One day, a whole flock of geese came flying through the air and landed on Turtle's pond. And geese, woo, they love to talk to one another. So all that Turtle heard was all these geese making so much noise. Oh, it was driving him crazy. So he swam out and said, "All of you geese, what are you talking about? You're driving me crazy." And the geese, they looked at the turtle and they said, "Oh, hello, Mr. Turtle. We are talking about flying south for the winter. Every year we fly to the south. And what we have to do first is we have to practice. We have to teach our young ones how to fly to the south. So we're going to be here for a few days while we get ready to fly south. Well, because the world was new, Turtle had never heard of this place south before. So he asked the geese, he said, "What do you mean, south? Where is this place south that you are going to fly to?" And the geese said, "Oh, Turtle, the south is a wonderful place. In the south, it stays warm all winter long. The leaves stay green and on the trees all winter long. In the south, there's lots and lots and lots to eat. And in the south, there is no snow and no ice on the ponds. South is a wonderful place." Well, Turtle, he heard all of this and he said, "Whoo, that is the place for me. I'm going to fly south with all of you." Well, the geese, they looked at the turtle and they said, "Turtle, how are you going to fly south? You don't have wings like we do." And Turtle said, "I'm going to practice just like all of you." So over the next few days, each day the geese would lift off into the sky and they would fly around and they would form their big V's up in the air and they practiced getting ready to fly to the south. And every day Turtle practiced also. He would swim as fast as he could across his pond. He would jump into the air and sink down to the bottom of the pond. And the next day he would swim again, faster and faster and faster, and jump higher. All the way down to the bottom of the pond. Oh, he was trying as hard as he could to fly like the geese. Well, one morning Turtle woke up, and again he heard the geese were making all kinds of noise. Turtle came out. "Oh, you geese, what are you talking about now?" And they said, "Turtle, today is the day. It's time to fly south. We're getting ready to go." Oh, no, said, "I'm not ready. I can't fly like all of you. Please don't leave me behind." And the geese, they felt bad for the turtle. He was practicing so hard. So they said, "Okay, Mr. Turtle, we'll tell you what. 2 of us will go and pick up a stick and we'll carry it through the air, low over the pond. When we fly over top of you, stretch out that long, beautiful neck. Open up your powerful jaws and clamp down on it. Hold on as tight as you can, and we'll carry you up into the sky." Oh, that sounded like a good idea to the turtle, so he agreed to do it. The geese all flapped their wings, lifted off into the air, and 2 of them came down and picked up a stick. They flew low over the pond. Turtle was swimming as fast as he could. They went over his head. He stretched out that neck. He opened up his jaws and he clamped down onto that stick. And he was holding on and holding on and holding on. And the geese carried him right up into the sky. Turtle was flying south for the winter. Well, those geese, they were flying and flying and flying for hours and hours and hours. And after they had gone a long ways, Turtle happened to look down and he saw a beautiful pond. And all around that pond, there was no snow. There was no ice, just like in the south. And then as he was looking, he saw a minnow jump up out of the water. Lots of food in the pond, just like in the South. He looked all around that pond, and the trees were all green. It looked like their needles would never change color, just like in the South. Oh, he saw all around that pond rocks and logs and grass and moss and all kinds of things that Turtle liked. And he thought, we did it! We flew to the South! But the geese were still flapping their wings. They were still flying. It didn't look like they were going to stop. They were going to go right past that pond. Oh, maybe they don't see it, thought the turtle. Hey, look, we made it to the South, he said. But because he had that stick in his mouth, it came out sounding like... Well, those geese, they heard the turtle and they looked back at him and, Mr. Turtle, be quiet back there. We are trying to fly to the South. Well, that turtle, he thought maybe they couldn't understand him. So he was holding on and he tried to say it louder. And the geese just, Turtle, hush up back there. We are trying to fly south. Oh, that turtle, he knew he had to say something. So he opened up his mouth and said, hey, look down! Because as soon as he opened his mouth and let go of that stick, Turtle started to fall through the air. But he had been practicing his flying, so he was aiming towards that pond, and he was getting closer and closer until finally, boom, he hit the surface of the water. Boom, he skipped across and across and across until whoop, he buried himself in the mud on the far side of the pond. Well, he nestled himself right down into that mud. Oh, it was nice and warm, just like in the South. Just then, a little worm crawled in front of him, and he had something to eat. Lots of food, just like in the South. He poked his head up over the mud. He saw all the trees that would stay forever green, just like in the South. And he thought, I did it! I flew south for the winter! And he laid his head down and he went to sleep. Right to sleep. But that turtle, he was so tired from flying with the geese that he slept all winter long.
15-minute warning.
And now, whenever the turtle feels a chill in the air, he sees the snow start to come down. He sees ice on the ponds. He swims across that pond. He jumps into the air and sinks all the way to the bottom. He puts his head down and he goes to sleep. And all winter long, Turtle dreams about flying south for the winter. Now I will say Daneho. When you hear me say Daneho in Onondaga language, that means I am done. Or those are my words. It's like the end. So Daneho. That story is done. A long time ago, hundreds of years ago, our people lived in very long houses that were made out of bark. And so in the wintertime, they would gather inside the long houses to stay warm. There wasn't a lot to do outside. There was no planting. There was very little hunting, only a little bit of fishing, like ice fishing. So most of the time, they stayed inside the long house. So it was a great time to tell stories. Now, a long time ago, of course, we didn't have books or TV or computers or things that we have today. So what would happen is that a person, somebody like me, would travel from longhouse to longhouse or village to village, and they would tell everyone stories, just like we're doing today. So we're not inside of a longhouse, but we're doing the same thing that the Haudenosaunee did hundreds of years ago, or the Cayuga people did hundreds of years ago, right here. We're doing it in the same place that they did it. And I'm telling the same stories that they told back then. So these things have been happening for a long, long time. All right, I got one more fun story that I wanted to share with you today. And this story, super, super fun story. And this is a story that, if you've heard me tell stories before, you've probably heard me tell this one because it is one of my more favorite stories to tell. But it's about some animals that live here in the forest all around us. And you got to know what these animals look like to understand the story. So, do you all know what an owl looks like? Yeah? Does owl have little tiny eyes or big round eyes? Sometimes we call this how owl got big eyes.
And they have 180.
But there's another animal in this story, and her name is Rabbit. Do you all know what a rabbit looks like? Yeah? Does rabbit have little tiny ears or big long ears? Usually we call this how rabbits got long ears. Let's have this very fun story. Here we go. Well, we say this story happened a long time ago, back when the Great Turtle Island was new. And back then, many of the animals that lived on the Turtle Island looked very different than they do today. The black bear had a very long tail. The deer didn't have any antlers. The birds were all naked. Didn't have any feathers. Many of the animals look very different than they do right now. And the Haudenosaunee have stories about how they got changed. This is one of those stories. Well, back at this time when the world was new, one day, Haudenosaunee, which is our word for God or the Creator, Haudenosaunee came down onto the Turtle Island and was looking around at all of the beautiful things that were here. But as he was looking around at these things, he got a thought up in his mind. He thought, you know, these animals that live here, they didn't have the choice of how they wanted to look. Maybe somebody wanted a longer nose. Or maybe somebody wanted a shorter nose. Or maybe somebody wanted big muffins. Well, whatever it might be, he decided to give them that choice. And he set about the Turtle Island, changing the animals to however they wanted to look. Now, imagine if you had the choice of how you could look.
Oh,
that would be pretty exciting, right? And animals in the forest, they love to talk to one another. So word of the changing got around the forest very quickly. Everybody got very excited, and everybody came running to get changed. Well, the Creator, he came into the clearing where all the animals had gathered. Whoo! He saw everybody there. He knew there'd be a lot of changing that day. So he bent down and he picked up the little rabbit to get started with her. And he stroked Mrs. Rabbit from the top of her head right by her little short ears, all the way down to her little bushy tail. Rabbit loves it when you do that to her. Mrs. Rabbit, said the Creator, How is it that I can change you? How is it that you would like to look? Oh, Rabbit gets to thinking about this. This is a big decision. How does she want rabbits to look forever? But while she was thinking about it, there was someone in a nearby tree branch, and he already knew how he wanted to look. So he called out, "Oh, Creator, over here, over here, over here! I am the owl! I know how I want to look. I want huge, powerful wings, like the eagle has, so I can fly up very high in the sky. But I would also like to have a long and beautiful neck, so I could look around and see everything going on around me." Well, the Creator heard what the owl said, and he turned to him and he said, "Now, Owl, it's good that you know how you want to look, but you need to wait your turn. Rabbit is getting changed first. I'll change you next." Owl was excited to hear that. He was going to get changed. Well, just then, the little rabbit turned up her face, and she looked at the Creator, and she said, "I know how it is that I would like to look. I have 4 short, stubby little legs. I cannot run very quickly. Wolf and Coyote are always nipping at my tail, trying to eat me for dinner. I would like to have nice long legs, like the deer has. Then I could run quickly. Stay away from Wolf and Coyote." "Oh, Rabbit, that is very wise of you," said the Creator. "And I can do that, no problem." But then he turned to all of the other animals and he said, "I need you all to close your eyes, cover up your faces, turn your heads away. I'm using very special magic. No one is allowed to look." Well, the animals all heard those instructions, so they covered up their faces, they closed up their eyes. All except for one.
Owl.
It was that owl up in the tree. He knew he was going to be changed second, and he wanted to see what was going on. So that owl, he made a big show of putting his wings up over his eyes, and then he spread out his wing feathers so he could peek through to see everything that was going on. Wow. The Creator thought all the animals had turned their faces away. So he grabbed a hold of the rabbit, right by the top of her head, right by her little short ears. And then he reached around and grabbed onto her little short black legs. "Don't be afraid, Mrs. Rabbit. This isn't going to hurt you," said the Creator. He gathered in all of his magic. And he started to pull. And he was pulling and pulling and pulling. And all of a sudden, those back legs started to get longer and longer and longer. Just like the rabbit wanted. But we know that when we pull on one end of something, we're pulling on the other end also. And the Creator was holding on to the rabbit's ears. And all of a sudden, Rabbit's ears started to stretch out and get longer and longer and longer. Oh my, look at this, laughed the Creator. Rabbit's getting long, fluffy ears. Oh, I'll have to tuck those back in before I'm done. She wants long legs. She doesn't want long ears. Well, he was pulling and pulling and pulling, and those legs were getting longer and longer and longer, and those ears were getting longer and longer and longer. And all of a sudden, he got the feeling that someone was looking at him. Have you ever had that feeling that someone is looking at you? You look around to see who's there? Well, the Creator looked around, and what did he see but Owl? peeking through. Oh, Owl tried to cover up like he hadn't done it. But the Creator had seen him. He was very angry. He was so angry, he dropped down that rabbit. He said, "Owl, are you looking at me?" And he got right up into the owl's face. And just like our young friend here, Owl, woo, 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 got very afraid. And his eyes got big with fright. And because the Creator had all of his magic gathered in, Owl's eyes got stuck that way. And Owl has big, round, scared looking eyes right this way. Oh, but the Creator was so angry with that owl, he grabbed hold of that owl, pulled him out of the tree, grabbed him by the head, and pushed his head down into his shoulders. Owl, as a punishment for what you've done, instead of a long and beautiful neck, now you'll have no neck. And does Owl have any neck right to this day? Oh no, head right on his shoulders. Oh, then the Creator said, "Owl, I'm so angry with you. I want you to fly away. I don't want to look at your face anymore." So Owl flew off and started to live in dark places like caves, hollow trees. And when does the owl come out? Nighttime. He doesn't want anyone to see his face. But now the Creator turned around to finish stretching out the little rabbit. But when he turned, he was gone. All the animals were gone. When he had yelled, it was louder than thunder. Everybody had become frightened, and everybody had run away. Even the rabbit, even though she wasn't done getting stretched out. He looked all around for her, but she was hidden way down in her burrow. She would not come out. So he decided, all of the animals will have to stay the way that they are. I can't take the chance of anyone looking at my magic. And that's why, to this day, Rabbit has two little short stubby front legs, two long and stretched out back legs, and she has to hop all around. It's also why Rabbit has those long and floppy ears, because she ran away before the Creator could tuck them back. Done, I hope. That story is done. Did you guys like that one?
Yeah.